Step one, what do you want to do? Think about what deeply motivates you. The thing that you've always wanted to accomplish in your life, a big, hairy, audacious goal that will cause you to really push yourself in something that is really worth doing. You gotta think back. Think back to when you were younger, think back to what the world needs, think back to all of the conversations that you might have had. Super important to know where you want to go before setting off on a path. Step one, what do you want to do? Step two, talk to other people about it, right? You got friends for a reason, you got relatives, you got family, you got mentors, hopefully. Start telling people about your goal. Start telling people, hey, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm thinking about doing. And what this is going to do is allow you a lot of perspective from a lot of different people that will help you contextualize how rational your goal is, right? And also how to start implementing it. Maybe some advice that they can give you on how to go about creating this kind of life that will allow you to actualize that goal. Having friends, having relationships that satisfy this part of you is super important. It actually sets a precedent for every other relationship in your life. So this accountability in the people that you have around you, strong. Step three, now this is when we start getting into it. Step three is essentially the bread and butter, the rock of this whole thing. It's a routine. Every single successful person that you're ever going to listen to or have the pleasure of talking to and getting advice from is going to tell you, listen, you need to do things every day. You have to wake up at a certain time. You have to go and do probably some amount of work. Then afterwards, you need to have some sort of routine that allows you to sink directly into and tap directly into that purpose that you first set for yourself. A routine is the lifeblood of any initiative that intends to be large or intends to actually be impactful. There's been so many times in my life where I have started something and I just didn't have the routine together, and I just didn't really think about the little things that are necessary to make that thing work. And I've learned a lot from that over the years, and we fail and we get back up, but listen, routine. Super important. Forget about your goal if you can't do routine. I'm telling you. Step four is self-love. So you got this routine going for a couple months. I hope you get to that point. You get this routine going for a couple months and you'll start realizing, wow, there's parts of my life that I'm really slacking on right now. And that's where self-love comes in. That's where the essence of who you are as a person, what type of emotionality you need for your life, that's where it starts becoming incredibly important, okay? So I think a lot of people get into a mindset where they say to themselves, yes, I'm just gonna keep doing this, and then they notice that their emotional state kind of degrades over time and their relationships suffer and this and that. And really it just comes down to knowing when you need a break, when you need to get away from things, and what exactly you can do to get the break efficiently, right? So you're in a routine, you keep doing this thing, and then you realize you hit a wall, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm so depressed, I don't have any friends, right? The ideal is to have something that will last you maybe a day, that will really recuperate you, that will really get you going. A day or less. If you can get something that you do every day that shows yourself love, you will be way more sustainable in your approach for moving forward in this initiative that you planned for yourself. But you really do need, at some degree, like to some really essential degree, you need some way to unwind and some way to show yourself that you're a human being, that you have emotions, and that you love that about yourself. And that's a whole process in itself, but super important after establishing a routine and being in it for a little while to come back, reflect on it, and think to yourself, maybe I should start doing this stuff to help me heal some of the stress away that I've created for myself. Step 5 is going to be investing, right? So now you have something that you're really passionate about. You have something that you have talked to people that they're holding you accountable for. You have a routine that actually shows that you're doing that to yourself, right? You're improving your self-worth. You're months into it. Hopefully, if you're not, just kind of digest this information. Just have it in the back of your subconscious. You have figured out how to love yourself in the process, right? You have figured out how to buffer some of that, mitigate some of that. Now is going to be the part where you start investing in yourself, right? Because there's a lot of things that we can do that will subconsciously build up who we are and what we're trying to accomplish. So for me, I always say to people, listen, the smartest people ever, like in human history, the smartest people wrote books and they put all of their information that they ever learned in a concise form for you to just pick up and read. Okay, but that's one of the many forms, probably one of the most important, but one of the many forms of investing in yourself consistently, right? Like, if you don't constantly have something in your life that is inspiring you, that is making you wiser in your approach, something that is that feels good, that it feels like a little bit of work maybe, but something that's really augmenting every day what you do, what you think about, you're really gonna miss out on the exponential gain of what a routine can really give you, right? Because you're not gonna have too much to reflect on. And to some degree, someone might say, hey, I don't need to reflect. I just need to do this thing, do this. You never want to go somewhere in life without knowing what your effect is on the way, right? There is something that is super, super important about knowing the morality of what you're trying to accomplish, the vibe of it, right? Like, how does it make people feel, right? Like, the whole time, you don't ever want to get to a spot in life where you're thinking to yourself, oh, no, I'll wait until 7-10 years from now and then I'll be a good person. That's gonna screw you, because the reality is we don't have the time, right? We have to be very okay with ourselves every day. It has to do that, and you have to work that way. And investing in yourself is a great way to allow yourself to think about maybe some of your shortcomings, some of the things that you still have to learn in life, right? Super, super important. So get something that you can listen to every day, that you can read every day, maybe a person that inspires you. Investing is paramount in your approach, okay? Number 6. Opportunities. So I've heard many times from very successful people that the most happy life, the most satisfying life, is a life of service. Okay? Now I take this full-heartedly because I've realized that over the years I've kind of become the planner in my friend group and my kind of like the long-term stuff. I love strategy, I've always been into that type of stuff when I was little. So creating opportunities for other people through all of this stuff that you've learned, right? You've got this routine, you've got this wonderful idea, you've got people around, you're bolstering yourself with more information, more knowledge. Now go and use it, right? Like, give people the opportunity to spend time with you, or go and give people the opportunity to perhaps engage in some of the things that got you to think about your purpose in the first place, that perhaps got you to this video, right? Like, there is tremendous power and a lot of therapy that comes from giving out of just pleasure and joy. And these opportunities, the interesting part about it is, and you'll notice this a lot in business too, if you actually end up watching some other videos and stuff, when you present people with opportunities, right, that is essentially front loading your worth. Saying to them, listen, look, I can create this for you. This is here for you. Okay, come for free. Come hang out. We'll spend some time together. And then they're gonna walk away from that and think to themselves, wow, what an awesome experience. Or wow, interesting. Like, that made me think a little bit, right? You giving them that opportunity actually expands your network, right? And that is super important too. All these steps are obviously very important. I've tried to put them chronologically in the way that you probably should think about them, or one should think about them, in my opinion. But offering opportunities to people is awesome because it gives you access to more people potentially, right? So if you're planning a foosball game, or if you're planning, I don't know, like a D&D night or something, right? And new people come in, and you get to interact with new philosophies, new mentalities. You can't lose from that, right? At the end of the day, okay, fine, you may have wasted some time because the people that you really wanted to show up didn't show up. But the alternative is you never gave yourself a chance to potentially find someone that could be your best friend, that could be your lover, that could be your mentor, you know what I mean? Like, these opportunities, it's not just, it is about giving, but it's also a selfish pursuit, right? Like, you're giving, because you're a human being, you're giving to also get back something. And you have to believe that when you give your whole heart and you do it kind and you do it with justice, that the universe will give you these other beautiful things back. That's kind of like the power of karma. So creating opportunities for people and yourself after you're kind of getting really going in this stuff, super important to help bolster and kind of build up the structure and the blueprints for other stuff that you want to do. Number 7, this is where the metacognition comes back in, right? So you're doing all this stuff, rethinking. And there's a great book by Adam Grant called Think Again. Rethinking your position. He said twice a year, and rethinking about where you're headed in life and whether or not you're satisfied, whether or not you're really like, you have the pace that you want to have, right? Rethinking that and recalibrating and thinking to yourself, what could I do differently? Is super important for longevity, right? So we don't want to have this self-worth thing just be for a year, a couple months, right? What's the point of that? The self-worth thing should be a whole life endeavor. And the only way to have that kind of marathon approach to it is to just check in with yourself as much as you can. And it's difficult to do on a daily, and that's why I say twice a year, because you really just sit down, just reflect, go somewhere and put everything aside and really think about what you've accomplished in your life and whether or not that is something that you're okay with. Okay? This is essential for you to understand yourself and probably for you to understand the motivations of some of the people that you love as well. You have to realize that every 5 years we basically change. Almost fundamentally as people, we change a lot in 5 years. So to assume that the trajectory that you set for yourself 5 years ago is actually the one that you still want, I think it's short-sighted, right? At the end of the day, step 7, you got to rethink some of the things that you're doing. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to change them. You might be very okay with how you're going about it. And that's a good thing, right? That's reaffirming yourself, right? That's improving your self-worth, because you know that you can at least listen to yourself when you're alone or when things are happening. And then step 8, stick with it. Step 8, stick with it. Keep going, right? When you're passionate about something in your life and you go and do it, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it, there is nothing in this world that is going to stop you from getting what you want. Period. It's been the case for millions of human beings forever. What's to say that you're any different, right? So go pursue your dreams, and remember, self-worth ain't nothing like it. It gives you inspiration, motivation, the ability to convince other people to be the best that they can be. So, if you like more videos like this, check this one out. One of the first ones that I made on purpose in life. I'll see you over there. Actualize your potential, my friends. Take care.